It's showtime. Da-da. Oh, crap. I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached tonight. All right. Give this a few minutes. Get everybody's attention. There's a lot of places I got to do this at. Oh. Well, a couple more. I ain't doing this on all those pages. But anyways, that being said, what's up, World Wide Web? It's E-Daddy, your angry toy guy. And tonight on our Masters of the Universe character profile and toy review, we're going to talk about the king himself. And yes, I'm talking about King Grayskull. Now, why am I swear this is why sometimes better to go through and do. All right. Do these taped. If y'all watch later. But I'd rather do them live so way I can go through and have a little bit of fun with everybody that goes through and shows up. Now, I know for the last 2 weeks, I promised you guys King Grayskull. The King Grayskull review. Did promise y'all that 2 weeks ago whenever we did the Horde Wraith. Had to hold it off a week just due to the fact that I was waiting on some things to show up. They showed up finally yesterday, so we could do this. Now get to sit here and do it with all you guys. Real quick shout out and congratulations goes out to two close friends of mine, and that would be John Meislewick and Cassandra Prock on the birth of their son, little Colton Meislewick. I think I did this last week as well, as far as congratulating Aaron Johnson over at Lucky Legends on Facebook for a successful first Toys for Tots wheel and all that. At some point in time or another, I'm going to figure out, or I'm going to get done something special that I'm doing for one of those Toys for Tots wheels, which anybody that follows me on any of the pages that I'm on on Facebook knows that I'm attempting to create my own Spirit of Man-at-Arms. But anyways, so tonight our discussion is going to be about, like I said, King Grayskull. Now, any of us that, which would be all of us, that have followed, He-Man Master Universe since it first came out in '82, knows that King Grayskull was something that was never mentioned at all, talked about at all. All we knew was Sorceress, the Green Goddess, went through and gave Ular or Prince Adam or whoever you want to call him the Sword of Power, half the power sword, and we know the whole story from there. But then comes along in 2002, the 2000X series, MYP series, which gave us a complete reboot in a way, gave us a clarity story, so to speak, as far as how Adam got the sword of power. We got to see where it came from, and we got to see part of a little bit of what the power was, what it truly was. So, right off the bat, we get something great out of this. We all know in the 2000X series, it shows Adam being taken to Castle Grayskull and getting, being gifted the sword because it was prophesized. So, anyways, over the course of like the 2000X series, the 2008 Classics canon, and the 2012 DC Comics series, we got an explanation. We got a detailed account, 3 different ones to speak of King Grayskull. So we're going to delve into his backstory some. We're going to delve into it a lot. Along with take a look at some of the different figures that we've been given from Classics for King Grayskull. Anybody that's got any of the King Grayskull figures, damn it, they're quite nice. They look awesome. They look just like the 2002 depiction we got, in the cartoon series. So, but we'll go more into that here later on. All right, so like I said, in the 2000X series, we were first introduced to, King Grayskull. He was a distant ancestor to Prince Adam, who ruled with his wife Vina, the original sorceress, basically, from Castle Grayskull, long ago in eternity's past. Now, right then and there, we did not get told how far back, whether it was a couple hundred years ago, a couple thousand years ago, we don't know. He used his immense strength and pure heart to fight for a peaceful Eternia. He always battled with 8 warriors by his side, which, I guess you can pretty much say right there was the original Masters of the Universe. He went through, I ain't got to say much about this. Imagine a lot of us that, we've all seen the 2000X series. He lost his sword in the Grayskull moat while battling the Snake Men before he finally got defeated by Hordak and the Horde. with his trusty steed, the Battle Lion. He went searching for the power to help him defeat Hordak. Came across the Oracle of Zalasia, or it's not really the Oracle at that point. I think he called him something else to start with. But anyways, he was basically aided by him. Made him go through 3 tests unknowingly as he climbed this mountain to where the Oracle was at, which we come find out the thing that was helping to start with was actually the Oracle of Zalasia the whole time. But anyways, he put him through 3 tests, returned his sword to him, and revealed that Grayskull had the power within him the whole time to be able to defeat Hordak. In his final hour, he did manage to defeat Hordak and the Horde, banishing them all to Despondos. However, for that, Hordak managed to, him and Hordak finally met on the battlefield, and Hordak's final blow, was that basically, was the start of King Grayskull's death. Basically killed him. But even though King Grayskull went through and he did destroy Hordak's body, thus his spirit basically to Despondos. Grayskull went through and he managed to imprison, Hordak and the Horde into Despondos, which basically, went through and it scarred the ground around Grayskull, which goes to explain why the ground and all the land around Grayskull was the way it was, because it's from that final battle. After the battle, when Grayskull, of course, was dying, he infused his spirit into the sword, gifted his warriors with the power to rule Eternia with wisdom and kindness, and basically made them spirits, so to speak. Let's face it, every one of them turned to white ghost, and they became the elders, which was what Skeletor's trying to find once he, before he got imprisoned behind the Mystic Wall, and after he got released from the Mystic Wall, not knowing that, power is actually within Grayskull the whole time, and it all in a sword. That, King Grayskull had, like I said, infused his spirit into it. He swore on his dying breath that if Eternia needed a champion again, someone in his bloodline would rise to answer the call. Thus, after that, now this is what I'm wondering is who did this? A statue was made in his honor and put deep within a hidden chamber that was actually deep within the castle, which we would see in some of the later episodes of the 2000X series. Adam finding the statue, or getting shown the statue after he's having dreams about it. So for the most part, that's how a lot of us, saw King Grayskull to start out with. And contrary to the figure that we would get from Mattel in the Classics line, start with, this is the sword basically that, Grayskull was carrying around. Even when he lost it in Moat, he got it back. This is what he infused his power into. This is what Adam got. That's the whole reason behind it. We'll get into more of this one later, of the Techno Sword. But anyway, so right then, in 2002, we had we've covered it before, but we had a backstory. We knew then exactly where the sword came from, why the sword had the power, what the power of Grayskull was. We finally had answers. So, 6 years later, 2008, here comes Mattel releasing the Classics. they finally get around to releasing a King Grayskull figure. And thus they went through and put a whole new, create whole new details as far as the life and times of King Grayskull. There were some that went along with the 2000X story. But at this point, we do get a timeline, which we find out that King Grayskull lived 5,000 years in Eternia's past in Preternia. Name was actually Devan Grayskull. Like I say, he grew up in Preternia under the rule of King Hiss until the Snake Men captured and actually devoured his brother. From there, basically hell-bent on revenge, he became, the rebel leader and attracted a lot of support all over Preternia. He ended up getting Battle Lion from the Green Tiger tribe after he defended their home against renegade guard pirates. In time, Preternia basically went through and they named him king for his wisdom, his courage, strength, and compassion, with Vina and his council by his side. He basically had the council help and advise him. During the Great Wars, he actually befriended Hero, who was the one who, according to the classics canon, originally wielded the Sword of He. Hordak invaded Preternia, searching for Hero. And from there, Grayskull was basically fighting a war on two fronts against the Snake Men and the Horde until all three sides called a temporary truce and constructed the three towers, which we all know is, we all know as the Eternia place that. But as the three towers. We had Grayskull Tower, the Viper Tower, and Viper Tower. God, I could not actually remember all three towers' names. For a short time, there was actually peace until the Horde betrayed the others and restarted the war. King Grayskull and the Masters went through and they fought both the Snake Men and the Horde in the first ultimate battleground, in which Hero went through and he sacrificed himself in order to save King Grayskull, thus giving him the Sword of He. Later on, Grayskull would banish the Horde to Despondos, but had been hit by too much of Hordak's dark magic, and it basically took his life. Basically, we're getting right there. We are getting a little bit of the 2000X backstory infused in with this. He went through and he passed his power into the sword so that a worthy descendant could one day wield the power. So right there, we're seeing a little bit of the 2000X story, a little bit different from what we got with, with 2000X, without a doubt. But we did get a little bit more backstory of things. And here we go through, and we do eventually get a figure in which I'm also thinking, when did this one get produced? Let's see. Okay, in 2014. So this is after we got the next little bit here. And it was the 2012 DC Comics line, which anybody that honestly has not checked that out needs to go through and actually check all that out. Now with that series, they went through and they created like their own variation of the character, saying that Grayskull had forged the power sword in the fires of the Starseed deep within the castle a little over 1,000 years ago. So basically at this point, you're like, all right, so now we're going from 5,000 years in the past to 1,000 years in the past. No longer we got pre-turning. It was 1,000 years ago when Eternia's passed. But he went through and he forged the power sword himself. Also, at the same time, he also went through and forged the Sword of Protection in order to temper the Sword of Power, just in case the Sword of Power did fall into the wrong hands. Vina foretold him basically of the Power Twins and of their impending conflict that the two of them would have, thus making a bigger reason for him to go through and forge the Sword of Protection to go along with the Sword of Power. Grayskull, once again, third story in a row, he went through and he did succeed in destroying the Horde and banishing the Horde into Despondos. This time, though, it ain't the Horde's, or it wasn't the Horde going through and it killed him. As we see in those comics, during the celebration, the guard basically went through and betrayed him, destroying his kingdom. But before he could react, he was drugged and assassinated by his so-called Gar servant, Saren, who used a cursed blade that was given to her by a disguised King Hiss. So, get 3 different stories. 2 stories, he basically dies the same way. 1, we get a whole different death for him. Whole different setup as far as who did it, why they did it, and everything else. Hopefully this is going to be one of those things that if there is ever a He-Man and Masters of the Universe movie, that they do, I hope they cover Grayskull. I hope they talk about him. I hope they bring him into this. But with all that being said, we've got a story behind King Grayskull. And for all of us that grew up, with the Masters of the Universe and He-Man, we always wondered, thank God for 2000X, we started to see a little bit of a backstory here, or we got a little bit of a backstory. We found out about King Grayskull. This wasn't just a sword that just popped up. They've been magically created by the Green Goddess. We actually knew why it was there, how it got created and all that. We had answers. And they went through, Mattel, DC Comics went through, and yeah, they both put their own spin to it. But it's still, it all worked well together. It all worked well the way each one of them did. And it was great. Like I said, Mattel went through, and when they started releasing the classics, they went through and they gave us the figure I know I wanted. I really wish they'd given us this figure in the 2000X line. We did not get that, but we got once classics rolled around, and it was great because, and before I better grab it, and I'll explain the black tape later. So they gave us a very 2000X accurate version of King Grayskull. Almost. Because if you go back and you watch the series, you realize that King Grayskull, not only did he have the immense strength, he was of a very immense size. Now, So, I mean, this is one of those figures they probably could have made a little bit bigger. Not Megator or Titus size by no means, but bigger than what we got. Second problem I had with this was right here, because since they made him look just like the 2000X counterpart, they gave us the original vintage style sword. That was half the silver and half like the crystal blue, see-through, glittery looking sword. And it don't matter how you got him, it still showed up like this. They also gave us the orb that we would see in the 2000X series that would raise up, thus showing the power in the case that would contain the sword of power. Me, honestly, is like, I keep it with him, the sword that came with him, but a lot of times I'd much rather see him with the Techno sword, because this is how a lot of us seen him, when he was first revealed. So just for shits and giggles, I'm just going to give them both. Now, the cape, they did make it to where it was removable. So if we wanted to, portray him and everything, but I think they could have done with a different material, because if we want to go through and we want to put him on Battle Line, we do have to take this off. They could have went with like a different material for this, kind of like they did with Evil Lynn, and giving her the ability to go through. And like I said, go through and where he could go through and he could ride Battle Line. One day, we'll get into him, but now I don't remember his. Well, we'll talk about that another time. I'm not going in there. Like I said, we put him on there, and you can get him on there, but if you want him to have his cape with him, you got to pretty much make it look like that. Not cool, guys. Not cool at all. And of course, if you had to take the cape off, then you had the issue of trying to get the damn thing back on, because that's where it became a royal pain in the ass issue. You really had to force it down and everything else. And a lot of times it was just better just kind of lay it on there, let it go. But like I said, a lot of other issues, much like He-Man. Anybody that's ever gotten a He-Man classic figure, damn loose ankle joints on at least both feet. I have a lot of times, most time, getting him to keep standing up because he keeps wanting to lean forward. Like he's had too much drink. He's ugh. So a lot of times, he's got to stay propped up. But like I said, they did do some good to it. They went through and they made him 2000X series accurate. So right there, that was awesome right there. Let's stand him up. So then I'm going to say for the San Diego Comic-Con, they went through and they gave us a King Grayskull. Like I said, I don't know if this one actually came out first before that one. I know there's differences in between the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive King Grayskull and the regular one. But it's always pretty cool because I've got the other piece that actually goes over this box, that once you take it off, you can go through and you can slide these out, put that on top. It literally looks like you've got Grayskull, him standing in front, or him standing inside the mouth of Grayskull. When you go through and you open them up, and you get where it lights up, does that. You did get several differences there with this one. Instead of the red cape that you got with that one, you got a brown cape. A lot more detailed, darker color brown on his loincloth, his boots. You got a gray on his bracers instead of the silver like that one. And also, instead of a flocked, let me pull this one back down again. The flocked part of the fur that you got on the top of his cape there. Just set him down right there. A lot closer, don't fall. You know, this one is all solid plastic. Now, with King Grayskull, start with, you got the Sword of Power that was multicolored, and you got the orb. This one, I said, a lot of the stuff that was silver on him ends up being gray on the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Plus, and I'm trying to see if I can show you this best way possible. Like, you got a regular Sword of Power, once again from the Filmation setup, not the Techno Sword like we got with the 2000X. You got the Battle Axe and the shield with him. But overall, I mean, this right here, it was great. Plus that, you go through, you get that just right, and you had the little light up on the inside. So it was like really cool little piece right there. This one I'd procured through a Waffle Win. So I mean, that was still really, really cool to get it that way. And a dumb butt has just now realized that I always thought you just like pull out these flaps on the side. I did not realize you could sit there and do that. Basically square it off. So I guess whenever you go through and you put the other piece on there, bam, you've got a front of Grayskull. Like I said, I've got the top put away because of the way I display this thing an awful lot. Let's see, when was this one produced? Okay, this was actually when they first released classics. This is the 2008 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So this one actually came before that one, because on the back they've got a picture of Beastman and He-Man. It says new Masters Universe Classics figures coming this fall. Look at the bottom, it says 2008 Mattel. So I mean, this right here, for me, Classics line, this is probably like one of my grail pieces to have that I do manage to I do have. So that right there, that's pretty cool right there. So then they went through and they gave us the Spirit of Grayskull, which, forgive me here for a few minutes with the light situation, because we're going to fix this, because I want to show everybody something really cool with this. God dang. That light's bright, but it needs to be. Now, I've got one loose, one mint on card. Like I said, the one mint on card says, you know, it's 2014 with the Spirit, in which on the back of it, it says, after his death, Grayskull preserved his spirit in the sword. He, through his act, he was able to remain within the walls of Castle Grayskull, advising his heirs and acting as a guardian of the castle along with sorcerers. His idea for the elders to combine the powers of the universe with their wisdom to tap into Eternia's hidden magic into a power orb. which they do not give us with the spirit of. The orb contained a new unified force made up of both raw force and wisdom to wield magic. This power could go on to become known as the Power of Grayskull, named for his reign in the castle. Grayskull remained part of this power even after Adam combined it with the starship Eternia, becoming He-Man permanently. Grayskull, Great King of Eternia, watches over his descendants and his castle in the form of an ageless spirit. So basically, they say right then, okay, he was part of the mini comics to start with, which they do show right there. And now you think about it, it's like you do. A lot of us remember seeing that at some point in time in the mini comics and stuff. All right, so I'm going to let this one glow or get soaked up in light for a minute here, because this one, they made sure that he would glow. This one, they did him. All right. For all that wonder about this right here, I had created a shelf, or a big shelf thing that would used to hang on my wall in my living room where I used to keep my vintage figures on. However, since I moved them to another location, I took it down. Now I actually have the shelf rebuilt a little bit, actually hanging in here to where I put the figures up that I have talked about in this series. All right, so I think it's long enough for him. Time to kill light one. This is going to be my stretch out arm baby. And two. And because of the light off the computer, it is not fully showing how well he is actually glowing. But much like Scare Glow, he will actually glow. All right, so I can see this light again. Here we go. I'll kick this one back on. Turn this down. And like I said, much like the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, we got the Filmation style sword, the battle axe, and the shield, much like you would get with the He-Man from the vintage toys. Like I said, and I've been griping about most of this review, when we first got Sea King Grayskull, we had the Techno sword that we would see in 2000X. Me personally, this once again had been one of those things where it'd been great if they had put this, and made it glow in the dark, made a version, with the spirit of Grayskull, include this with him basically from the get-go, whether it be the Comic-Con exclusive, the regular one, or even the spirit. Now, like I said, it was cool they went through and they gave him the ability to glow, with the whole spirit thing. Right here, cape does not come off. In order to get it off, you'd actually have to go through and up behind it and actually cut the thing off. Which is bad due to the fact that, like, if you take a look at... Well, no, you don't. No, you actually don't have that ability to go through and, like, slide that sword down. They should have given him the ability to go through and put that sword down in there. Went by him. But all the joints and everything are actually pretty tight on the ones that I've got, or on this one that I've got. And, once again, they kept him very very 2000X MYP series accurate as far as how he looked and everything. Like I said, between that and between the sword issue and not making him completely size accurate, like they have other figures, I don't have too much of an issue with it. like I said, I really wish they'd went through and given him this sword to go with him. At least, if they were going to do it, since it was basically they based him off the 2000X series. That's what they should have done. Is give him everything and based him off of that. But anyways, like I said, it was nice to see, they went through and they did that. They did incorporate it. They gave him that look. They gave him that style. Yeah, they went through and gave him, the Filmation sword. And I'm pretty sure in the 2012 series, which, like I said, had not come out yet whenever they released Grayskull, King Grayskull with the Comic-Con exclusive. I know in that series they gave him the, that power sword. Or did they? Let's take a look down memory road, because that's what I like to do when I can, if I can. Oh, there it is. I didn't have to look very far. Issue 13 of the Master Universe comics, and this is the old series that came out that was preluded the Eternian Wars. You see right there, there it is. There's the sword. And like I said, they went through, and before they redesigned this, Adam redesigned the sword and everything, that's how it was looking. That's what they did. They gave him the Filmation sword, which, I know we're all used to seeing that sword. Well, obviously, we did not care for this. However, if they're going to keep it 2000X accurate with the figure, this is what they should have gave us. All in all, for King Grayskull, I'm going to I'll go 4 out of 5 with it. Like I said, they kept him very 2000X accurate. With the exception of one, the sword. A lot of the King Grayskulls I've gotten through the last couple years have had the same ankle joint issues. Much like He-Man having that issue. But they did do a beautiful job sculpting them out and everything. So that was good. That was great to see. And the fact they went through and they threw in the orb, with the regular figure. They didn't throw us in with the Comic-Con exclusive, but they did throw it in with the regular version. Hey, it's great to see. A lot of us that have the Temple of Darkness sorceress knows that there's the orb stand. That one I do not have. I've got her. However, I do not have her loose. I've got her metal card hanging up here on the wall. So, we all know that if we've got her loose, we've got King Grayskull loose, we can go through and we can take that orb and put it up on the stand. I have a hard time keeping this out of my little boy's hands because he likes to play with it. But anyway, so that, like I said, is my review of the toys that we've gotten for King Grayskull, and a look at the backstory we got, like I said, from the 2000X line, Classics Canon, and the 2012 DC Comics. There's still a lot of room really to play around with King Grayskull as far as his backstory and stuff. yeah, we can go through and we can piece it together, make up our own using the canon that we've got. But, you know, we're getting what we're getting. So that's all good. You know, it gives us some room yet, and hopefully, you know, if ever we get a movie, which I think last time I heard, you know, we're looking at 2020 before we see that one. We'll see if they, I hope they delve into everything, you know, as far as King Grayskull and everything goes. Dark Soldier, I did have the snake armor He-Man. I've been going through, and where I'm going through, and I'm trying to go a little bit more mint on card. I got rid of him recently, like a ding dong. If you take a look at my review of He-Man back around Christmas time as part of like season 1, and I'm wanting to say it was like episode 8, I did in fact show the snake armor He-Man. So I said I did have it. I did take a good look at that one, along with all the He-Man figures I've gotten over, you know, had over the time, still have. But anyway, like I said, that is my take on King Grayskull. Had a few little things they could have done different with him, but they did an awesome job making him look like the 2000X version, which I was glad to see. Because if they hadn't have, I don't know about everybody else, but I would have been a little disappointed. I really would have. But anyways, I said I was going to allude to this. Me working everything, managed to straighten something. I was going to call it tennis elbow, basically, even though I've never played tennis a day in my life. But anyway, so like I said, that's my review on King Grayskull. Next week, I tell you what, I'm going to make it a fan's choice next week. I'm going to go through and all the pages that I'm part of and that I go through, and I do advertise for this show on. I'm going to put over a link from the Angry Toy Guy page on Facebook for everybody to go over to it. And I'm going to put some options up on there as far as my review next week. And to be honest with you, I think my choices are going to be, will I do the Cats of Eternia? You know, and I'm talking about cringe. Well, no, I can't really do that. Just due to the fact that I do not have a Classics Panther. Let's see. We could do. I got it. Choices could be the horses, you know, Stridor, Night Stalker, or we could go through with a figure, in which I'll figure out one there as far as what to do on that one. Let's say, because to be honest with you, I'm really not sure what I want to do yet. Like like I said, if I had a Classics Panther, I would probably go through and go ahead and say, yeah, we'll talk about the cats. I don't know, maybe I might still put the cats on there and just refer to Battle Lion, Battle Cat, Cringer on that one as an option. But if everybody's liking what they're seeing, like I said, make sure you hit the like button. If you're already subscribed, great. If you're not, make sure you subscribe to this. You know, let's keep the love going, because I'm hoping everybody's enjoying watching these. I'm enjoying doing them. Also, make sure you check out my other videos I've got on here where I'll be talking about different other different toys, whether it be ones from the 80s. And I'm not just covering, with the season thing, it's strictly Masters of the Universe. But there's other ones I'm doing, that's covering like wrestling figures, maybe the Ghostbusters figures. In time, we'll take a look at the Transformers figures. I've talked about, I think I went in depth about the Loyal Subjects figures. The even the 5.5 inch figures that we've gotten from both Super 7 and Funko. Currently waiting on the new Wave 2 of Super 7's 5.5 inch figures. So we can do a review on those. Everybody feel free to go through. Like I said, there's a page on Facebook, for the Angry Toy Guy. Shoot me a line. Let me know. Something you guys would like to see. Whether I have it, whether I don't. If I don't, I'll try to get them. If I do have it, I'll do it. See, believe it or not, most of these boxes are filled with Classics figures, loose ones, to go along with the. Oh God, I have actually lost count. The 29 hanging on the wall. I've got another one sitting over here. I've not hung on the wall because I've got a duplicate of it already on the wall. Poor squeeze. But anyways, like I said, I will get on there and make sure to go through and put some options up for everybody to check out and see. And like I said, drop me a line, everything. Also, while I'm thinking about it, anybody doesn't know about it, check out the WaffleCon 2019 page. It's a page run by me and several other guys, where we all try to get together and talk about things relating to He-Man and Masters of the Universe. We do, we'll trade things off, and who knows, maybe this year, the whole WaffleCon thing, maybe we'll cover more than just He-Man stuff. Maybe we'll delve into G.I. Joes and Transformers and stuff like that. That being said, quick shout out to, some of the groups over on Facebook, Lucky Legends, the Lord of Destruction Waffles. Lord of Destruction Waffles, the most powerful waffles in the universe, the Man Cave, Wily Cat's Corner, WaffleCon 2019 without doubt, King Grayskull in the Masters Universe, or King He-Man in Masters Universe, I'm sorry. Scareglow's house, and What was that page that one guy's got that Joe Amato's got? Since I'm no longer have any viewers, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. Oh man, I missed that. For the fans of Power podcast group, talking about for He-Man, She-Ra, and more. Everybody feel free to check those out. And but anyways, I'm E-Daddy, your angry toy guy. And until next time, you guys keep on collecting. Till next week. See you then.